First at 5. From the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
A 13-year-old is in custody and extra patrols were at Columbia County schools today after a school shooting threat was exposed. This comes just days after a mass shooting at a Georgia high school. This is First at 5. I'm Natasha Holt.
And I'm Alex Land. Madison County Sheriff's Office arrested a suspect in the social media threat towards 2 Columbia County public schools. WUFT's Bailey Korinek is live in the studio with us with a timeline of what led to the 13-year-old's arrest.
Yeah, and he's not the only person who's been arrested. Within the last hour, the Columbia County Sheriff's Office charged 17-year-old Christopher Smith Jr. He's the author of this post that prompted major concern in the community. Before his arrest, Columbia County Sheriff's Office detectives identified a suspect in the initial social media threat, a 13-year-old. He was taken into custody by the Madison County Sheriff's Office last night. There's an increased security presence at Columbia High and Lake City Middle Schools today. The scare comes just days after a Georgia high school shooting where a 14-year-old boy killed 2 students and 2 teachers. Back at home, parents are worried.
Super alarming. It makes me think right away that we've made the right decision to homeschool my kids and grandkids.
Madison County Sheriff's Office has released the name of the 13-year-old, but we're not naming him because he's being charged as a juvenile. We reached out to MCSO for more info and are waiting to hear back. Live in the studio, Bailey Korinek, WUFT News.
3 UF students who were arrested at a pro-Palestinian protest in April are on their way to having their cases dropped. Tess Siegel, Jinx Rooney, and Augustino Pulliam have all signed a deferred prosecution agreement. Under the agreement, their cases will be dropped in 6 months if they're not arrested again and if they pay $150 in both court fees and children's charity donations. A deferred prosecution agreement is different from pleading no contest. Another UF protester, Charlie Pringle, must continue to appear in court. She was rearrested on August 30th. She was walking on campus after being banned from the university for 3 years after the April protests.
The Florida Department of Law Enforcement is investigating after deputies in Bradford County say a suspect died during a car chase. Deputies say over the weekend they were acting on an arrest warrant for Justin Hogg. The 43-year-old was under investigation of a reported firearm theft from the day before. Deputies say they found Hogg driving and then led them on a chase. He crashed into a patrol car before veering into a nearby pond. Deputies brought him back to shore. While waiting for paramedics, Hogg fell and hit his head. He was taken to a hospital where paramedics say he died from his injuries.
A Marion County driver is recovering after a collision Sunday evening. The accident happened just after 5:30 on Highway 315 in Fort McCoy. These are pictures from the scene of the crash. While 2 people were involved in the accident, one was declared with a trauma alert and sent to a local trauma hospital. While the cause of the accident is still under investigation, the roads were slick after recent rain Sunday.
Roads in north central Florida could remain slick for much of the week as more wet weather is expected. The UF weather radar is showing storms and showers in our area. Let's get right out to meteorologist William Maxham live in the weather studio, timing out when the rain is expected to fall.
Yeah, we're looking at showers through the next few hours, but those showers kind of limited in coverage. Right now, only a few sprinkles in Alachua County. Heaviest rain in the region is falling across northern Marion County, right around the Ocala area, Williston, and into Stark. We're going to see showers kind of off and on, just like last week. We've had this frontal boundary just parked across the Gulf Coast. That's kept our weather unsettled. But what is new is we now have a new tropical storm that has formed in the Gulf of Mexico. It is a tropical system, and it is going to give us some impacts. We'll have the details on what we can expect coming up.
The Florida Museum of Natural History is shutting down temporarily in the spring. I spoke to museum officials on how this closure will impact visitors and staff. The Florida Museum has to say goodbye to its visitors as it plans to temporarily close its doors in the spring. On January 6th, the museum will close its doors to begin renovations. Florida Museum curator Jarrett Daniels says the changes provide visitors with a fresh experience.
They'll see, new, vibrant exhibit and educational spaces, a larger collector's shop. So it'll allow us to serve our visitors in the community much better than we currently do.
However, the closure will displace 29 temporary workers. The museum said in a press release that salaried staff will not be laid off, but they may receive slight modifications to their roles. Daniel says the museum will push community outreach during the closure more than ever.
While the physical walls of the museum are closing, we will have a very dynamic presence in the community, so we're not going anywhere. So please look for us.
The museum plans to reopen sometime in 2026. Daniel says it was not financially feasible to keep the museum open during renovations.
Parents in Marion County will soon learn about the school district rezoning efforts due to a pair of new schools opening next year. One of the schools will be built in the Marion Oaks community, while the second will be south of State Road 200 in Ocala. Both schools are expected to open in August of 2025. The district is holding 2 informational meetings open to families and students on Thursday, September 12th at the Sunrise Elementary School cafeteria. The other is Monday, September 16th at the Hammett Bowen Jr. Elementary School cafeteria. For more information, visit the rezoning page at marionschools.net.
Gainesville drivers might have noticed some detours on your morning commute. Some Alachua County streets closed today for road work. Southwest 8th Avenue and Southwest 61st Street between Tower Road and Southwest 20th Avenue were closed this morning. Construction is expected to take 3 weeks to complete, and detours will be in place to redirect through traffic. The project includes building 2 raised sidewalks along 8th Avenue and Southwest 61st Street corridor. Only residents and local traffic will be able to access some roads closer to construction.
Florida's 26th annual Missing Children's Day ceremony was held in Tallahassee this morning, remembering kids who were kidnapped and killed, as well as others who haven't been found yet. Families of missing children each put a rose next to a photo of their loved one during a somber ceremony. Dan Campbell's 14-year-old stepdaughter, Wendy Hudacock, went missing from her Naples home in 1998 and has not been seen since.
What you're going to do, for the future. When Wendy went missing, we didn't have the Amber Alert. We didn't have a ceremony like this. We didn't have the information in the schools to teach children about safety.
During the ceremony, awards were presented to students for essays and drawings. Several law enforcement officers and police dogs were also honored for stopping potential kidnappings across the state. There are currently 7 Amber Alerts and 4 missing children alerts in Florida. Coming up next when First at 5 returns, all out on debate preps, how the former president says he plans to stand out from his opponent.
Plus, Florida Debate Watch, how Republican and state leaders are mobilizing supporters to watch the candidates when they take the debate stage tomorrow night. All that and more when First at 5 returns.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Vice President Harris and former President Trump are in the final stretch of preparing for what could be the only presidential debate of the election season. Voters say they're more excited than ever to watch what could be a historic night. And as Alice Barr reports, the debate could play an impact in polls, which show the 2 candidates in a dead heat.
Tomorrow night's critical debate, Vice President Harris prepping in Pennsylvania.
Are you ready, Madam Vice President?
Ready. Former President Trump at Mar-a-Lago as new polling demonstrates just how much is on the line. A New York Times Siena College poll of likely voters finding Mr. Trump ahead of Ms. Harris 48% to 47% within the poll's margin of error, with 28% of those surveyed saying they need to learn more about Vice President Harris. Even some of her supporters looking for answers on the debate stage.
I hope to learn a lot of good things about her and what her plans are to help us the next few years.
Trump backers with this advice.
Don't call her names, just stick to the issues.
The former president on the attack over the weekend.
We're run by stupid people. Stupid people. And we found that out at the debate with Joe. How did that work out? And we're going to find it out again on Tuesday night.
And on social media, renewing threats of prosecution against anyone he deems to have cheated in the election. In a new radio interview, the vice president sharing her mindset for the rivals' first ever face-off.
There's no floor for him in terms of how low he will go. And we should be prepared for that. We should be prepared for the fact that he is not burdened by telling the truth.
Her campaign releasing a new ad with former Trump administration officials criticizing their old boss as a threat to democracy as he prepares on policy, with polls showing more voters trust him on the all-important issue of the economy. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Earlier this afternoon, the Trump campaign and the RNC held a call with the media in Palm Beach County to discuss their plans for tomorrow night's highly anticipated debate. The former president's debate committee includes Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz and former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard. WUFT was on today's call when Gabbard stated that President Trump plans to tie Harris to her previous record in office as vice president, dealing with topics such as the border, global instability, and more. Both Republicans and Democrats in Florida have planned debate watch parties across the state. In a press release, Florida Dems announced parties happening in nearly 30 counties tomorrow night, including one happening right here in Alachua County. The Gainesville Women for Harris debate watch party begins at 8 p.m.
And Tropical Storm Francine is strengthening. We'll have the latest on its intensity and where it's going to be hitting coming up next.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome back. Plenty of clouds over the UF campus. Temperatures into the 80s. For the moment, it's not raining, but our 24-hour rainfall over an inch, almost an inch and a half, has fallen since this time yesterday. More rain is likely to come our way later this evening and into the next couple days. Temperature-wise, most of us into the upper 70s, lower 80s. It's cooler where the rain is coming down, and most of the heaviest showers for the moment are coming down across the northern half of Marion County. We're going to see showers kind of remaining slow moving. Basically where they form, that's where they're going to die, but they're producing some pretty impressive rainfall. That's been our biggest weather concern over the short-term flood watch. It affects around the Jacksonville area. They've, over the past few days, picked up 3, 4, even over 5 inches of rain here. So flooding a concern there. Any additional rainfall, not good, but pretty much anywhere in the peninsula, we could be seeing the potential for some flash flooding as we remain in a very wet weather pattern. And it's going to get wetter. We do have that one system we mentioned, Francine, here. That's going to be headed our way. Then we have 2 other ones out here into the Atlantic. They're not going to be impacting us in the short term. It looks most likely they'll be moving out to sea, but they're going to likely form storms that are named over the short term. And this one going to be making for rain mostly across Gulf states to our west, but it is going to have some impact over the state of Florida as it approaches right now. Winds at 65 miles an hour, not quite hurricane strength, but it is intensifying and it is likely to make an impact, perhaps even as a Category 2 storm right around Louisiana on a Wednesday and a Thursday. Then it'll move northward and then get absorbed. Now, what does that mean for us? Well, it means an uptick in rainfall. This is how we look through the rest of the evening today into tomorrow. Another round of showers into the afternoon across North Florida. Then as this tropical system moves inland, we'll see an uptick in our rainfall for Wednesday evening. Heavy rain a concern, potentially into Thursday as well. But after that, things should be drying out. In the wake of this tropical system, we actually are looking at rainfall chances getting into the 20% range by the time we get to the end of the weekend into next week. And as our rain chances go down next week, our temperatures will be going back up.
Coming up in sports, Gators volleyball and soccer are both handed their first losses of the season. And Gators football head coach Billy Napier speaks on the quarterback situation. All this and more after the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome back. It's time to talk sports. DJ Lagway had an incredible game on Saturday against Samford, with Graham Mertz being out on concussion protocol. Now the question is, who will start in the Gators' next game? WUFT's Ben McLeish and Madison Walker have all the details on this quarterback controversy.
Following a dreadful opening day performance, Gator football fans finally have something to celebrate, and his name is DJ Lagway.
It didn't take long for fans to start cheering the freshman quarterback's name. And it didn't take long for Lagway to start setting records. In his first collegiate start, he broke Florida's true freshman single-game passing yards record, amassing a whopping 456 yards in the Gators' 45-7 win over Samford. Head coach Billy Napier announced that this won't be the last time we see Lagway this year.
He brings a different element to our team, and there's no question he'll be a part of every plan going forward.
According to Napier, Lagway earned more time on the field thanks to his stellar play against Samford. But Lagway contributed his success to one of his teammates, starting quarterback Graham Mertz.
Man, Graham is the best thing that could ever happen to me. Him being here, just learning from a veteran player as himself. It's just been amazing to learn and just see how to do things right. And he's a true professional, and that's what I want to be when I get older.
Now, the two quarterbacks will be competing for the starting role.
Billy Napier will have a tough decision next week. Does he start DJ Lagway or Graham Mertz? Reporting from Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, Ben McLeish, WUFT Sports.
Ben, earlier today, I was able to attend Billy Napier's press conference where he answered the lingering question fans want to know. Why would the team start Mertz after seeing freshman DJ Lagway's numbers from this past weekend? This was his answer.
There's been a lot of these dynamics, I think, over the years in terms of having a veteran player who's accomplished, who's had a good career, and that's coming back, who's in a leadership role, and then you've got this young talent. We all knew he was very talented from the beginning of his recruitment. So, look, we're going to do what's in the best interest of the team, and I think both these players can make our team better.
Napier is looking to make a decision that is in the best interest for the team. However, with freshman DJ Lagway never seeing SEC play firsthand before and Graham Mertz still not medically clear to play as of today, the anticipation on the starting quarterback situation is growing. As of now, it is still up in the air who will be starting for the first conference game this Saturday that is set to begin at 3:30 against Texas A&M at home. Look out for more to come on this in the coming days. For WUFT Sports, I'm Madison Walker.
Before DJ Lagway and the Gators dominated the Samford Bulldogs on Saturday, Holt and Eastside brought the energy to Citizens Field for their Friday night rivalry. The game had a slow start with only one touchdown in the first half, giving Holt a small lead. The Rams' only touchdown of the game came in the third quarter, and Holt also found the end zone to make the score a close 14-7. But Eastside's defense started to weaken as the Bobcats were able to score 3 more touchdowns in the second half, keeping the Rams to just the 1. Eastside's offense also began to crumble as they struggled to gain yardage and protect the quarterback. Holt defeated Eastside with a score of 35-7. Gators volleyball hosted the Florida Invitational this weekend, winning 2 out of 3 matches. The Gators kicked off the Invitational with a tough loss to in-state opponent USF, marking their first loss of the season. The game stretched to 5 sets, with Florida eventually losing 3-2. The Gators then bounced back on Saturday, sweeping the University of Southern Indiana, and then Florida finished strong with a comeback win against Ohio State with a season-high 57 kills. The Gators come out of this Invitational ranked 10th overall and 5-1 on the season. One final note, today's final note is a personal one. WUFT sports journalists dedicate hours to covering the sports you all love, and I know firsthand about putting your body on the line to get the shot you need. While covering the Eastside Buchholz football game Friday night, I took one for the team, literally when I was tackled on the sideline by an Eastside player. But no worries, I'm fine. Like the saying goes, you can't keep a good journalist down.
Wow, that is so crazy. You have such a great story to tell now from your reporting.
Before we go, one last check on the weather.
Yeah, some hard-hitting reporting, and our forecast stays pretty wet through the next few days. We're going to see an uptick in rain as our tropical system starts to bring in additional rainfall. That's going to be Wednesday and Thursday, but regardless, this whole week going to bring us showers and storms drying up by Sunday.
Thanks for joining us. We're back here tomorrow for another edition of First at 5.
But your North Central Florida news is always on at WUFT.org and all of our social media platforms. Have a good night.